So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend, I post an episode of the series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week has honestly been pretty quiet in the NBA world, which is a surprise, but training camp is right around the corner, and y'all still submitted a ton of takes, so we definitely have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now. So if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Devil, and he basically says that Austin Reaves has become incredibly overrated, and is only getting the hype that he's getting because of the fact that he's playing alongside LeBron James in Los Angeles. So this is one of those takes that probably does stem from some truth, and there is a reason why people feel this way, but it's also taking things a bit too far and reaching the disrespectful stage. You can't just disregard everything Reaves has done over the last few seasons just because you don't like the attention that he's been getting. Reaves went completely undrafted in the 2021 NBA draft. He got signed into a situation where the lights are brighter than they are for almost any other team with the most pressure. He carved out a role despite the odds being against him, and he's been exceeding those expectations ever since. There's a lot to be excited about with Reaves, and there's also obviously a reason why Lakers fans love him as much as they do. With that being said though, they are reaching a point where it's getting to be too much, as the original take states. The Lakers, inarguably, get more media coverage than any other NBA team, especially since LeBron James has come to town. Their fan base is massive, they have a ton of reach, and they push narratives as hard as anybody, so naturally the quote-unquote sleepers on their roster become household names whether they deserve to be or not. We've seen examples of this happen before Reaves too, as Talon Horton-Tucker was being called the next big thing at one point in time when he was a Laker. Kyle Kuzma used to have fans arguing that he was better than Jason Tatum early in their careers, and Alex Caruso was actually getting the hype that Reaves is getting now a few years ago as well. Since those three have left the Lakers, they've all found varying degrees of success, but they're no longer topics of consistent conversation because they don't have the power of the Lakers media and fan base behind them, which is basically the point that the original take here is trying to make. Reaves is an outstanding player in his role, and his combination of shot making, playmaking, and defense allow him to serve in different roles with the same amount of success. But there's a lot of people that think he's an all-star in the making, and that group probably needs to relax a bit, so we all need to find that middle ground. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Jason, and he says that the Celtics will miss Marcus Smart's presence in the locker room, and it will result in chemistry issues for them. The Celtics have been one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference for a while now, having made it to the conference finals in 5 of the last 7 seasons, along with a trip to the NBA Finals in that span. They've drafted very well in this time, landing stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They've spent their money wisely on guys like Al Horford. They've made really valuable trades for impact players like Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White, and at the heart of it all has been Marcus Smart setting the tone defensively and doing all the little things that a winning team needs. He's been one of the best perimeter defenders in the league for most of his career. He's got a Defensive Player of the Year award in his trophy case. He's someone who has been a vocal leader and someone who leads by example, and he's honestly been one of the guys that has successfully been able to keep things together during some of their rough patches, because as was insinuated in the original take, things haven't always been sunshine and rainbows in that Celtics locker room. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are two great players, but there have been rumors floated out there that they don't always see eye to eye, and the fact that Brown has been thrown into trade discussions several times over the last few years hasn't really helped things, which has made him upset. The coaching change last season from Ime Udoka to Joe Mazzulla resulted in even more problems in the locker room, and now their leader Marcus Smart is gone. Kristaps Porzingis is an outstanding player, and probably an upgrade on paper, but even he comes with his own set of locker room disputes in the past, as he and Luka Doncic didn't really see eye to eye because of his usage while he was in Dallas, and if he wasn't satisfied with his usage in Dallas, then how do you think he's going to feel while being pushed even further down the pecking order playing with Tatum and Brown? The Celtics have a very good argument for being the favorites in the Eastern Conference this upcoming season because of their talent on paper, but basketball is not played on paper, it's played with real humans where more real-life factors come into play. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from TKP, and he says that Dillon Brooks is actually underrated, and he's the kind of role player that every championship caliber team needs, but is overhated because of his antics. Dillon Brooks has rebounded very well this summer after the way that his season with the Memphis Grizzlies ended. All season long, the Grizzlies were a young, loud, fun, and kind of obnoxious group, with Dillon Brooks being the leader in those antics. He would lead the team out of the tunnel doing dances, which is all in good fun. Nobody has any problem with things like that. But then he'd get on the court and immediately start trash-talking the opposing team's best player, he'd try to provoke them physically, and even when he talked to the media, he would be disrespectful towards his opponents, and the thing about trash talk is that you better be able to back it up on the court with all the talk that you do. It's a very fine line to try to balance, because fans love to rally behind the ultra-competitive type who gets in his opponent's heads and dominates them with his play, but the support can easily turn against you if you're out there getting cooked and being a distraction. Dillon Brooks has been one of the better perimeter defenders in the league over the last few seasons, and he's a capable, albeit streaky, scorer who averaged 18 points per game a few seasons ago. As we saw with Team Canada in the FIBA World Cup, he is capable of getting hot and scoring in bunches, and in the third place game, he torched Team USA for 39 points, so obviously he's not the scrub that social media wants to paint him out to be. But then on the flip side, in the playoffs this year against the Lakers, when he was talking the most trash, he shot the Grizzlies out of a few of those games, and in the series as a whole, he shot 31% from the field and 23% from three while getting cooked by LeBron James. In general, I do usually really like the ultra competitor type, with Patrick Beverley being a good example, but Brooks takes things way further than Beverley does and crosses the line way more often. In general, he obviously can help a winner because the Grizzlies have been top 2 in the Western Conference standings in back-to-back seasons, but I also don't think he's mature enough to be a leader on a team that goes all the way. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.